Welcome everyone to the Remembering the Truth of Who We Are event. I am your host, Jocelyn Mercado, and I'm very honored today to be speaking with Brooke, Medicine Eagle. Welcome, Brooke, and thank you so much for being a part of this event.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And so let me just read a little bit about you so that everybody can get to know you if they don't already. Brooke Medicine Eagle is a legendary earth keeper, wisdom teacher, healer, visionary, singer, songwriter, shamanic practitioner, catalyst for wholeness, and ceremonial leader. She is the author of the Native American literary classic Buffalo Woman Comes Singing and of The Last Ghost Dance. Her music recordings, teachings, writings, and wilderness spiritual retreats have touched the hearts and minds of people worldwide. She is currently working internationally, focusing on the empowerment of women. And you can learn more about her on her website, which is www.medicineeagle.com. And so the topic that we'll be discussing today, and I'm so excited to talk with you about this today, Brooke, is Whole and Holy Truth, White Buffalo Woman's Way. So welcome. And I know you wanted to begin with a song.
All right. Buffalo woman is calling, will you answer her? Buffalo woman is calling, will you answer her? She's calling light, she's calling peace, she's calling spirit, she's calling you. Buffalo woman is calling, will you answer her? And a short prayer. Creator, on this good day, we give thanks for our lives, the absolute beauty you have given us on this earth, and the possibility of bringing more light and love into our lives. May I speak your truth, and may those who are listening receive what they need. Thank you, Aho Mitakuyasan, for all our relations.
Aho. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, well, to begin, could you tell us who is White Buffalo Woman?
I sure will. I'll tell this story very briefly because I have so many other things to talk about. She brought so many messages, but I'm going to focus on the overall message she brought. And if people want to read more of her story, my book, Buffalo Woman Comes Singing, has a wonderful representation of it. So there was a time when the Lakota people lived in the woodlands far to the east, and they and many, many other tribes came out onto the plains to hunt buffalo in their summer times. And they often traveled in small groups, what we call a camp of about 24 people, very likely a head man and wife or wives and family. And always they had with them 2 young men who were their scouts and warriors. And on this day, I see that they camped along maybe a willow-lined stream, and these young men went up on the hills. In that country, it's rolling hills filled with tall grasses. And these young men went up on a hill to do 2 things. One, they wanted to see if there were buffalo there because that's what they were there for. And 2, there were a lot of different people, a lot of different tribes, some of them possibly enemies out and around. So they wanted to see that the family was safe. So they were there looking around, seeing what was there. They didn't see any buffalo, but they saw something in the distance. And it was a lone figure, which was really unusual because out there on those kind of prairies, you just don't hang around alone. And so they watched and watched, and pretty soon they realized that it wasn't an animal, it was actually a person. They could see this person coming right straight toward them. And they watched and watched, and the person went up on a kind of a high rise, and the grass was shorter, and they realized not only is this a person, it's a woman. And as she drew closer and closer, they saw that she was dressed in really beautiful ceremonial things, which is also unusual. And that made them kind of nervous, I think, because they thought, well, is this a decoy? Is this a trick? I mean, is somebody going to come up behind us? So they were really attentive and paying attention and watching. And she kept coming right straight toward them. She came up close to them. And when she came closer, they realized not only is this a person and a woman, this is an incredible, there's even seems to be light around her. She's beautiful and radiant, just amazing. So there were different kinds of men there that day. One of them thought to himself, she is very nice looking, and I don't think there's anybody else around. So he walked up to her to take advantage of her in a lustful manner. And so she received him. She opened her robes and she closed them around him. And the other young warrior said, a mist blew up and covered them. And it covered them for a while. And then when the winds came up and blew the mist away, and she opened her robes, the young man's skull and bones fell out and blew across the prairie. And so the other young man was a very different kind of person. I'm sure he was shocked and stunned by all of it, as we all would be. You can hardly imagine. But he, with a lot of trembling, I'm sure, walked up to her and said, "Oh, beautiful and radiant woman, woman of power, would you come to my people and teach us?" And she said, "Go before me and make a lodge and I will come." Mm-hmm. And so she came to the people carrying this bundle that was, as she laid it out, was the chanupa, the sacred pipe. And she came bringing all of these wonderful teachings. And that beginning experience has many, many, many lessons in it. But one of them that I want to emphasize today is that he came selfishly. And one of White Buffalo Woman's deepest precepts is that whatever we do to any other thing or being in the circle of life, we do to ourselves. Mm-hmm. For we are, in fact, one whole and holy being. And so he made it clear to us how what you do comes back around. And that the other young man is a wonderful lesson for us in that he was what we call a true warrior. He not only was a masculine and out and doing his job and protecting and taking care of and providing, he also did that in service of all the people. Mm-hmm. And that's a true warrior. So it's that sense of wholeness and not being self-centered, but taking care of everyone else that he really portrayed. So the thing I want to talk about is White Buffalo Woman's primary teaching. When she came bringing the sacred pipe, she showed them that the bowl of the pipe, the Catlinite bowl of the pipe, is the feminine that holds all things, everything, every single thing. The two-leggeds and the four-leggeds and the wingeds and the waters and the earth herself and the creepy crawlies and the green standing ones and the starry realms, and everything is included in that feminine bowl. And then the masculine stem is added, and that unity is the wholeness. It's the masculine, feminine, the up, down, good, bad, in, out. It's the duality brought into one wholeness. So that lesson is powerful to us in what we're talking about today, in that we need to think about ourselves and remember that our individual pursuit of spirit and ourselves is not in a way an individual pursuit. It's about a wholeness, because as we know more about ourselves, we can't be whole by ourselves. We are whole with everything in the circle of life.
True. Yeah.
So that lesson is the one I want to talk about. Wholeness just can't be an individual pursuit. And finding out who you are is what we're talking about. And the thing is that she said, whatever we do to any other one or any other being, we do to ourselves, for we are one whole being. And what that means for us is that we are one with the Creator. The great Creator is, I think the thing we forget is that Creator lives within us and every other being. So what I think of as the whole and holy truth is that Creator lives as you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's in some ways a difficult one for us to get. But I want to give a little example here that's helped me, because our minds have a hard time understanding that and working with it. But I don't know if any of you have seen, I hope you all have seen a hologram. A hologram is one of those pictures. It's kind of 3D. You look at it and it's this amazing whole picture of things. And what's true is if you take that picture and rip it in two, each one of them has the whole picture. If you put those together and rip it and you've got four, each one of those has the whole pictures. If you rip and rip and rip and rip and rip and rip and rip, each tiny piece has the whole picture. So when I think about us, I think of us like that the great Creator is the wholeness and the whole picture. But that really lives in us. It may get blurred, like if you have a hologram and you tear it up and tear it up, have a little piece about this big, it doesn't show very clearly. It's still the same image though. And I think of us that way, that each of us is Creator in miniature form in a specific time and place, and yet we are Creator. That's who we are. So when you ask the question through this, who we truly are, I feel very humble even talking about this, because I need you to know that I'm not a master of this. It's something that I'm working on. I feel like an elder sister, maybe I'm one step ahead of you. But the reason I want to talk about this today is that I feel it's so important to even just get a hint of these kind of deep and holy truths. I was saying to you before that I think it's like a strawberry. If someone says, go find strawberries, they're just so fabulous. They're the best thing. You go, well, like, where do I start? I don't. But if someone hands you a strawberry and you taste that fresh, wonderful, organic, juicy, great strawberry, then you know what to look for. You can go find one. Even though you might not have some right there, there's a draw to go find another one of those wonderful strawberries. And that's what I hope to offer people today, is just a hint, just a taste of what's possible as we work with this idea, this thought, this holy truth that Creator is us, living through us. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Yes, thank you so much. And I love how you describe the hologram, because I've heard that described, and I've seen holograms, but that image of just tearing it in smaller and smaller pieces, and every single one of us contains the whole, and not just us as people, but every tree, right? Mm-hmm. Every stone, every river, every aspect of the earth.
Because White Buffalo Woman's teaching was about holiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get a little confused with that. We think of holiness as something we do on Sunday, or holiness as a white bearded guy in the sky or something. But really, holiness is about the whole thing. We have an attention for our own body, for what's going on around us, for a lot of things. But one of the powerful attentions that's spoken about in Native American teachings is holiness. And that is walking through the world, being able, with some part of our attention, to hold everything, to honor and respect and care about everything as Creator alive in that thing. So all her teaching was about that holiness, and about respecting and honoring and really caring about our world. So what's interesting to me is, well, then how do we touch that? I mean, it's kind of almost hard to think how we might do that. How do we use that in our daily lives? So one of the things I think is important is to think about who we're not. If I say to you, who are you? You might say your name. but that isn't really you at all. I mean, we can change our name. Another thing you might think of is, well, I'm a body, I'm a person, I'm a woman, so you're so many years old or whatever. But then we realized that we had this little tiny body when we were born. We had a little bigger body when we were kids. It changed completely when we were teenagers into our lives, on and on and on. It's changed completely. So is that who I am? No, I don't think so. I just don't think that's it at all. And I think one of the more challenging things is that we sometimes think of ourselves as our mind, as our thoughts. We think it's us doing all that wild talking in there, and that those thoughts are ours. But in fact, those are not us either. Those are passing. Those come out of the field of our experience. They come out of our inner experience, but they're passing. They aren't who we are. I know I had an interesting experience with my mind and spending a lot of energy with my mind. I'm moving right now in this wonderful motorhome that I have. And I parked in a beautiful place out of Portland, Oregon, and it's raining a lot there. And the guy just happened to say, I hope it doesn't rain too much before you leave, because you might sink right down in and not get out. Oh! So all the time it kept raining. I thought it was raining a lot. I guess it wasn't that bad, but I thought it was raining a lot. And I kept thinking, my mind kept going to, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I tried not to do that, but it kept coming up.
Am I sinking? Am I sinking?
Right? Am I sinking? Am I going to get out? Can I go when I need to? I mean, I put a lot of energy into that, which we do about a lot of things that bother us. And of course, on the day that I left, I mentioned that to him, and he said, oh, it hasn't been raining that much. I think it'll be fine. And I pulled down, backed around, and it was all fine. But I had spent all that time on those thoughts that really didn't have any reality. So one of the challenges we have with our mind is that it talks a lot, but a lot of times it isn't in touch with the truth, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
I think that's such an important point, because I know I do that. We all do that, get so wrapped up on one little thing and spend so much energy on it when there's just no need. Yeah.
Right. And we create such stress with it.
Yeah.
So, another thing we might think of as ourselves is what we do. We all do things in the world. One way or the other, there's some activity that we do. We produce some things or whatever. But, that really isn't us either. That isn't who we are. And another thing that we might think of as ourselves is our emotions, or even our heartful feelings. We think of ourselves as our heart or our heartful feelings. And the way I've been taught is that we were given a wheel of emotions. Everything's on it. From bliss to anger to rage and fear, and all of those things are on that wheel. That wheel was given us by Creator. It gives us feedback about our world and how to interact with it. But one of the challenges we have is that we get stuck on them. We get stuck in one place. And the idea is to let them flow, to let them move. I think of fear even sometimes as, if I can think of it as excitement or interest more than something that panics me. Rattlesnake is a teacher about fear in our culture. And so if you hear a rattlesnake, if you freak out, freeze up, possibly you can get yourself in trouble, or run. Maybe you run right over it. But if you understand, rattlesnake's telling me to wake up, pay attention, look around, be respectful, and see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so fear often comes up like that. It's like somebody says, they're throwing rocks, watch out, they might hurt you. If you duck your head and go, oh no, if there are rocks coming, they're going to hit you for sure. Yeah. But if you say, oh, okay, I'm going to see what's happening here, you'll find out if there are, and if there are, you can move away.
Yeah.
So Creator's given us all these wonderful emotions to use and to serve ourselves with, but it's not about getting stuck on any one of them. It's about letting them roll and letting them move. And it seems like our mind and emotions bring up a lot of things. They bring up distractions. They bring up, it's like the mud, me getting stuck in the mud. That brought something up, and I kind of got stuck on it with a little bit of fear and upset and stress and nervousness. And when we do that, that causes like a scar or a tear in our reality.
Mm.
And what's fascinating is it's like a sliver of wood sticking up on your floor. Every time you walk over it, you catch yourself on that. It just catches you again and again and again and again. Every time you go near it, every time you get into that area might be, one of your special fears or something that's bothered you over your life. But every time anything reminds you of that, you see a person that looks like that or whatever, you get into that fearful place. So it's like allowing those to clear and move is so important, so that we can realize again and again and again that we're not any of those things. So then who are we? It's like all of that is just something passing. Even our emotions, even our feelings, bodily sensations, our body. So then who are we? And who we are is the person behind our eyes, is the awareness that's watching all of that happen. So the awareness of this body's how it is now. It used to be different. These feelings are passing and moving through. My outer experience is happening. My mind is chattering away. But the key is to remember that I am the awareness that's watching all of that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
and,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, and you don't want to go on a different tangent if it is one, but that awareness stays with us throughout this lifetime, and I wonder about continuously from other lifetimes and into other future lifetimes. I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I can just say briefly that I do believe that consciousness is ongoing. Part of what Creator said is you're everlasting, and it's that consciousness that's everlasting. And as we get more aware of that being who we are, I think we approach the loss of our physical body with much more calmness and maybe even excitement about what's next in this great long journey of our awareness. So I'd like you to really pay attention to that part of yourself, the one who sees, the one who is aware, the one who feels, the one who feels that little pinch. Who is that? That one is the one. And I understand that one is Creator's life. That's the piece. That's the piece of the hologram. Not my body looks like God's body, not someone else's, not anything specific, but that wakefulness, that awareness, that aliveness is Creator alive in us. The one who sees, the one who observes. And when we can step back into that place and be the one who sees, be the one who observes, be the one who notices what we're feeling, then we come into a different relationship with our larger self, I think, and with, I'll just say God, Creator. I know people refer to that great energy in many different ways. So it's interesting to think about our relationship with God or Creator. Because one way we do is, God help me. God give me this. God fix this. God send me this, or send my family this, or send the world this. We're in this kind of supplication, wanting, asking kind of place. Another place we can be is in some way devoting ourselves to Creator. We can have that kind of a relationship, finding a way to give our lives over. But I think we seldom remember that Creator is me. Creator is us. is each of us. But certainly it's so powerful to think that I am creator, that creator is me. But we're so often drawn into the world by things we like or things we don't like.
Mhm.
Like we want to, oh my gosh, I love that stuff. Or, woo, ah, I don't like that. And we get caught in those, I think. And when we, in a sense, we're self-centered with it. We're really, it's about me. It's about what I need, what I want, getting what I need and want, getting what I think I need and want. And when we do that, we end up working really hard to make things happen. We think we have to push and shove and make things happen. And we stress and I think overwork ourselves enormously. And another thing, when I think of being self-centered, I go back to that warrior that walked up to White Buffalo Woman. He was getting what he wanted and what he thought he needed. And that's really not the approach for sure.
Yeah.
Because
didn't work well for him.
Yeah, didn't work well for him. And so, there's another way of working, and I think it's probably the highest spiritual path that one could be on. And I can only allude to it here in the kind of time we have. But really, it's about not getting drawn into the world of things and happenings, to understand them, to see them, to be with them, to observe them, but to not get drawn into them so much. And it's really that's the key. That's the difficult part. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds easy. As long as there's nothing much going on, I can do that. Then something big comes up and boom, it's very easy to get drawn in. And when we get drawn into these things, often they're things that come from our past, because it's just like that sliver in the floor. That sliver's there and has never been handled, has never been integrated, has never been worked with in any way, then it's always there. And anytime anything comes up, whoop, that energy comes up and we're drawn into the world. We're drawn into upset, conflict, yearning, needing, all those energies. So the ability to step back and remember ourselves as the one watching doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on. There could be, things could be uncomfortable. It could be uncomfortable to be present with this. But so often we shut down, we stuff it down, we walk away from that sliver rather than allowing ourselves to really interact with it, pay attention to it, maybe take care of it. We step away. And of course we do that a lot when we're children, because I didn't have the happiest childhood and many people haven't. And when we're little guys, we kind of have to stop. We have to find some way to keep functioning without it overwhelming us when we're small. So many times in our childhood, we stuff a lot of things down that really, if we could have just breathed and been present and not got so deeply connected with them, they might have been able to pass through and we could have learned. Because the idea behind all of it is to learn from it, is to see, okay, this is what Creator is sending by. Now, how can I just be present, see it, be with it, feel whatever I need to feel, and let that teach me something, let that give me something, let that gift me something. So that's, I think, what we're wanting to do always. So go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the four attentions in our consciousness, because you mentioned that briefly earlier, but I would love to learn more about that and how that plays in with this.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I'll talk about those. Maybe you can close your eyes and I'll take you just in a little thing that I do with people when I'm with them. So let's say we're in a circle and we're dancing. We've got our arms around each other. And I will say, okay, I want you to pay attention with your first attention. And that is, we're all going to step left. left, 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 left. So what you have to do is you have to pay attention to your body. So your first attention as a human being is your physical body. So you step and try to step evenly, and you're holding on to people and on, and you're paying attention to your body. So your first attention is your body. And that seems kind of odd in a way, but actually, if you don't pay attention to your body, if you put it out in front of a car, and a moving car, instead of behind that car, you'll lose it. You'll lose that body pretty fast. And if you don't take care of it, eat well, exercise, all those things, you also cause a lot of problems for your body. So that body is your first attention. The second attention is one that can be used in many ways. They say we have 5 to 7 possibilities with our attention. We can be paying attention to quite a few things at once. So you might be paying attention to, oh my gosh, did I forget to turn the tea kettle off before I left for work? Or I wonder what's going on, wonder where my boyfriend is now. Or, we can be thinking lots and lots, millions, ultimate possibilities of thoughts. And one of the things I ask the people to do as we're dancing, I would ask you, is let's focus our second attention on the Mother Earth. Wherever we are, we're stepping down on something she supports, so we can think of ourselves as being supported by the Mother Earth. When we step down, Mother Earth. When we step, back up, Creator, Father Spirit above us. Down and up, Mother Earth, Father Spirit. Just invite people to use their attention that way. Then there's a third attention that's a very unusual one, often seen as this eagle with a red eye. And one way I could say it is that attention is what eats up your attention. So one way I might think about that is, what do we spend our attention on? It was eating up my life and my attention to pay attention all the time to how muddy it was and whether I was going to get my RV out a week later. Yeah. I wasted, something ate my attention. Or we might spend energy on negative things, other negative things, like I don't feel good, or that person isn't nice, or I don't like the weather, or I'm afraid this is going to happen. Those things eat up our energy rather than focusing on something really positive so that we're gaining something powerful from our energy. So all of those things are going on. And the fourth attention is holiness. And that attention then is, I demonstrate it. We're dancing in a circle. Perhaps I have a beautiful crystal and flowers at the center. I ask people to connect their energy to the center. You got your energy focused on that center, and we're all dancing around. And in a way, we're like a wheel. Each of us is a spoke going into the center. And yet, if we can relax our eyes and soften our eyes, focus on that center, we can begin to feel ourselves as the whole wheel moving, as the whole circle, not an individual on it, but as a whole wheel, a whole circle moving. And as we get that a little more clear, I sometimes say to people, well, let's bring in others. We're just a small circle. Bring in another person you would like to bring in. Dance for them. And bring in an animal, a being, an insect. Bring in someone like that. Let's make our circle bigger that way. Then bring in water, some beautiful body of water or a stream, or bring on a place on the earth that you love. Bring it all in. Let's make this circle bigger and bigger and bigger so that we hold more and more. And our wheel, this wheel is then beginning to represent each and everything in the whole circle of life. And so doing that, sometimes people can, get a sense of that fourth attention of what that holiness is. And maybe remember occasionally to remember that wholeness. Our native people talk about walking with, holding all like 7 generations of children in our mind. We also, honor the ancestors and realize they influence us. And then as well, the circle of life around us. So to to hold something bigger than ourselves, to hold respect and honoring for that wholeness that is us, then we walk forward in a different way. So I hope that's useful, thinking
Yes,
about
very
holiness.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Holiness is a big concept.
It is.
It's hard to touch it, but I want to give everyone some exercises and thoughts here. One is that what I'm saying is that in order to be present with ourselves, to be the one who sees, to be the observer of things, we need to quiet our minds, because our minds are the really challenging part. Our minds are chattering. It could be something that was said to us in our childhood. Sit down, shut up, pay attention. You can't do that. You're a girl. Don't do that. Don't do this. We don't like those kind of people. Whatever it is, there's all of that could be going on.
Yeah.
And then just stimulation from out, and I don't like the weather, or what, on and on and on. We're often talking to ourselves. And that isn't actually necessary, and it really is in our way most of the time, because that voice is not useful to us often. So I want to give you a way to work with that, a way to find the silence, the quietness in yourself that comes from the Toltec tradition. And it was very useful to me. Those of you who are fabulous meditators, maybe you don't need this, but I think all of us might gain from this. So you can follow along, but I'm going to show you before you try it, because you're not going to be able to hear. So this exercise, called Listening to the Voice of Silence, is about hearing and listening. And so it's about your ears. So here are the old exercises, and these are the ones you'll have to wait a minute to do. Just get a little energy in your hands. And then you put your hands up over your ears, and I have them over my ears in such a way that my ears are sealed. I can't hear anything except my voice inside my head. So there's kind of a vacuum there. So what I want to do is just kind of massage. I'm moving my ears around. I can really feel the cartilage down in my ears. And if I press just a little bit, I can actually almost feel my eardrums, because the air is pressing against my eardrums. So I'm just kind of waking everything up in there. So try that. Remember, sealing the palms of your hands over your ears.
Okay, and give it a try.
All right.
Some energy going here. Okay.
Good, and you're just doing a little massage. Keep the little seal there. Press a bit, work a bit.
We welcome everybody in the audience to go ahead and try this right now too.
And then you can let go. And so just, go ahead and let go. And just notice your ears. If you maybe hear a little bit differently, hear a little better. Another thing, and this could be all in one sequence, another thing, and this is somewhat mysterious, but I do it because that's the training I got. You put your hands here, you massage, you work around, and then what you do is, I don't know if people can see, but if I snap my finger like this, I put my middle finger over my first finger, and I can make a snapping.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to do is I want to snap on the back of my head. My fingers are back there. I want to use that snapping motion. So try it again. Keep that seal on your ears. Massage a little, and then snap that 18 times.
Okay. All right, let me try that. The first time I could hear my heartbeat. All right, let me try this.
It might be a tad bit awkward, but Just tap that back of your head. Good.
Sort of like a drum beat.
Yeah, and you know, the thought I have about that is that I do a lot of work now with the ancient brain, and our deep memories, our deep connection to things, a lot of deep wisdom is there, and that's my thought about why we're tapping that. So what you're doing is basically, you can also open your jaw and put your fingers, by the way, right by your ears. Go ahead and do that. And then open your jaw and move your jaw around. Can you feel how close that is to your ears?
Yeah.
And so you can kind of massage and relax your ears just by moving your jaw around.
Yeah, can really feel the connection there.
So we've done the beginning exercise. Now I want to give you the technique of listening to the voice of silence. So go ahead and close your eyes. You can just breathe naturally. And I want you to focus your full attention, every bit of your attention, on your ears and on hearing. There may be small sounds. I have a little clock in my room. There are cars going by. I can hear people out in the other room. Just pay absolutely total attention to your ears and your hearing. Because, and you can hear my voice as well. If you are paying absolutely full attention to your hearing, you will not be talking to yourself. So keep pulling your attention back to hearing. I'll make some little sounds here. In case there aren't many sounds around where you are. I don't think my feather makes any sound. So keep your attention on the sound. And you shouldn't be talking, you shouldn't be able to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
So how did you do?
Yeah, it works. That's very interesting. That's very helpful for a meditation practice as well. But yeah.
So for some people, that might not have been very easy, or it might have worked just for a moment or two. The thing you need to remember is to keep calling your attention back to your ears. One of the tricks that my mind plays is I hear something, I go, oh, I'm hearing a car. It's like, there I am talking again.
Right.
You don't need to talk to yourself. Your mind understands. And the old shamans felt that we needed to walk through our lives, that the way to walk through our lives was to walk through our lives with this quietness, that we don't have to run that language all the time. We say, oh, I have to figure it out. I have to, now what am I, yeah, what am I let me see, 2 and 2 is 3. We don't have to be doing that all the time. We have this incredible intelligence that works even better when we allow ourselves to quiet. Yeah. And so that quietness is really important. And another thing they suggest is that we soften our eyes. If you're, kind of staring and looking at something, it's not that. The other part, the hunter's eyes, the shaman's eyes are soft. They look out, they soften, and it's like you're looking out. You can put your hands out and realize that that's where you want to look. And if you do that, you can still see everything in front of you, but it's a different, softer way of seeing. You see more energy, more spirit, more movement. Hunters use this because you can see movement. I can see movement up in the brush.
Wow.
So,
yeah, beautiful. That's very similar to the difference between, that you mentioned earlier, between, feeling that we have to push and force things to happen and put things into action versus just allowing and being in the flow. Yeah.
So one of the things I suggest is that you do that a lot. Just do it anytime you can think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can think of it. Because then when you're in one of those instances where you get really pulled, it's like, I'm going, oh, I wonder how I'm going to get this RV out. I don't know. Maybe I'll get stuck. I don't know. Well, I have to call. It's like, shift my attention, quiet myself, listen.
Yeah, because that frantic thinking isn't going to get us anywhere.
Yeah, you get a nice deep breath, and suddenly you're present with yourself and with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
All of this other stuff is like throwing stuff up on the, making your windows dirty. You make your windows dirty with all this stuff, and you still think you ought to be able to see and handle the world. You can't even see the world because you've got all this other stuff going on. So it's like cleaning the glass. It's like cleaning the slate, opening up and seeing, I see what's really happening here. I'm present. I'm present with the gift of this very moment. I can see it, I can learn from it, and I can let my intelligence interact with it. So that's the first technique.
Beautiful.
That I think is helpful in stepping back. And it's learning, practicing these things enough that we can use them when we need them. That's always the deal.
Can I ask a quick question about the,
Yes.
this putting the, doing kind of the suction cups over the ears, right? And then tapping on the back of the head. You said that you think that helps to access the ancient brain. So that's an important step to do prior to the listening exercise itself? Okay.
Yeah, this whole thing of putting your hands on, rubbing, it's like waking up the actual physical part of yourself. And all of that is about waking up that actual hearing part of oneself. Okay. So that you're really attending there. And, you don't have to do that every moment that you ever turn your attention. But sometimes it helps because sometimes I just go, ooh, hello there. Get myself awake in that part of my body. And then it's easier to do that. So the idea is to not engage. If we engage in things by absolutely yearning for them and wanting them and, oh boy, lusting for them, or if we're going, no, I don't like that, I don't want that, it's not okay, then in a sense we're creating those splinters, we're creating those aggravations that hang around. And the thing is, they don't only hang around today, we know that they hang around from our childhood and every other, everywhere down the line. Right. So the best thing we can do for ourselves is for our true selves, for who we are, that being that's awake and alive in there, is to simply be able to, I'm Creator looking out through my eyes at this amazing scene, and I can allow it, I can be with it, I can be present with it, and not have to do so much. I don't have to do anything about it. I can relax a bit. And one of the things that I think is really important in this process is to pay attention to our bodies, because so often, if we're wanting to stay present with something, we'll notice that, oh, I've tightened my jaw, I've stopped my breath, my stomach feels a little sick. If we can just really go, oh, okay, I can pay attention to those, and I can be with those, and I can allow those to change and move as well. Mm-hmm. The emotions will change, everything will change, and those bodily sensations will change as well, so that we're learning to release and let go of all the things that kind of drag us and take us out of our true self, which is that seer, that being that's really seeing. And often when we do that, as we allow those things to happen, as we just see them and witness them, it might feel somewhat uncomfortable. When things go in that are negative, they're uncomfortable. But if we're going to lift them out, it's also that same discomfort. So to learn not to be panicky or upset with discomfort, to allow that discomfort to be there, to allow ourselves to process that through, allowing it to come up, or really paying attention to what's going on, to realize that the world wasn't made for our comfort, but those things can teach us a lot. Certainly if there's something horrible, of course, we would move away from it. But once again, if we're clear and awake, then we can react with our intelligence, with our true intelligence, with Creator's awareness, with Creator's wisdom and knowledge that lives in that awareness, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's so much bigger than us. We're tapping into some to the wisdom and intelligence that is us at the highest and finest level.
Yeah, I feel it's so important to emphasize one point there, that it's not always going to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
In our culture, we strive so hard to always be comfortable. And then when we step out on a spiritual path or a path of, personal development and inner work, things can get very uncomfortable, whether we're facing shadows from our past or facing our fears or whatever it might be, coming to grips with the state of the world that we live in. It can be very uncomfortable, and so important not to run away in those moments of discomfort.
Yeah. And run away, stuff it, not deal with it.
Yeah.
It just hangs around. So to really allow that movement through us, I think it's really, really important. And I want to take us into another, just a simple little meditation. I don't know how simple it is. It's simple, but maybe not easy. Because I want us again and again to remember that whole and holy truth, which is that we are God, we are creator, we are the great all that is, we are the great being. So I'd like you just to close your eyes and take a moment and just play with it. Just enjoy the thought that the great creator that created everything that is everything is also looking through my eyes, is also feeling what I feel. I'm this wonderful little pinpoint of light looking around and offering a view to creator that's not seen by anyone else, not felt by anyone else. That great, great life is living through me. It is me. I am that. And the words I am are very powerful words for our spirit. That great awareness that I am. In the world, just take a while to just hang out and enjoy this feeling that this is creator waking up. This is creator seeing this world. This is a day creator made, and there are going to be wonderful things coming that I can learn and see. I am this seer. I am this great awareness. And just allow myself to, as much as possible, touch into that. Not that God's somewhere else, distant, or somebody I'm supposed to ask for something or get something from. That what I get is the richness of that presence, that aliveness, that loving energy, because creator is love. Creator is God, is love and light. And as I tune to that, as I welcome that, then that great light and love fill my body, this personal self, this little piece of creator. And we are in a in a body, in a physical world. So once you've kind of got in touch with that, you can say, I am, creator is this body. My body is God's body. It's healthy and vital and balanced, in respectful harmony with all that is. And you say, my eyes are creator's eyes. Creator is seeing a very special little slice of life through my eyes. I see clearly and well. Here's something funny, maybe. Sexuality can awaken us in a way. Excuse me. I tease people and say, why do you think people say when they're having this wonderful experience, oh God, oh God. In fact, that's a gift from Creator where we touch this blissful state of union. We're not, when we're in the most powerful of those experiences, those blissful experiences, we're not even just ourselves. We're not even conscious of a limitedness. There's some larger, some amazing beauty that comes. And I believe that blissful state of union is really us having found ourselves as something larger. We have been willing to let go and expand and find that place within ourselves that is so enormous and so beautiful. So
That's beautiful. And also that as a moment of creation, it's like the, love in its highest potential is creation.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So another thing is, as you just go ahead and keep your eyes closed for a minute, and I'll just finish with this piece. As I said, we live in the world, so we need physical things. I believe that Creator offers us such beauty. Miracles are simply Creator's perfection manifest in the world. And as we are in tune more and more with that beauty, then we manifest things that work for us in all our relations. I believe that's what mitakoyasan, all my relations, is useful for. It's like saying, opening myself to receive something and saying, not only for me, but for all my relations. Mitakoyasan, this is for the wholeness. Whatever works for me, I want to work for everyone. Whatever works for everyone, really works for everyone, will work for me. So, mitakoyasan, all my relations, for everyone. So we can say, I am Creator driving the best automobile for my life right now. And feel ourselves in that rightness. There's something workable and right and magical and possible. And feel that in ourselves. As we draw that into our feeling, I am living in a place that serves me in all of life. If we need a place to live, really drawing that through that enormous, rich, powerful, all that is, that sense of Creator alive in the world. And another piece that I'd like to add in is to say thank you ahead of any of the manifestation that you want to bring in. All of what's possible lives in Creator. The whole of everything is already there. So to say thank you for this wonderful place that I live. Thank you for this incredible community. Thank you for supporting my work so that I can really make a difference with what I do. Thank you for this beautiful food. Thank you. Thank you that everyone in the world gets to eat well. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking care of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because gratefulness and acknowledgement and kindness, all of those things allow that energy to be alive in us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I highly recommend that to you, to just allow yourself as much as possible to feel that you're Creator walking in the world. That little step behind your eyes that sees things in their wholeness and their holiness.
I love that what you said about each of us is seeing the world in a completely unique way, and Creator sees the world through us in a way that he or she can't see through anybody else. That's really beautiful.
One of the things that's said by, all this work is what really is deep in practically every religion or spirituality we have. And most of them remind us that there was a time when there was no differentiation. And then Creator thought, I want to have more company. And just opened it out, just allowed all this incredible life on this planet beyond the stars, the finest, most minute, beautiful thing, everything, all of that then. And sometimes we feel kind of lost, but we just need to remember that was a gift. That was this incredible gift, so that I am Creator seeing this wonderful moment in my life, and I'm that strong, clear, loving light being that can allow these things to move through and past and learn from them and really give my best and most beautiful into the world. And I wanted to give one more meditation as we move toward a finish here. White Buffalo Woman has given so many things to the world, and she, through a meditation, gave me this wonderful thought that we can manifest what we want, but she's added a piece. So, we all know that we should, get clear on what we want and really get our emotions and feeling balanced and get really, sort of become one with it as much as we can and do all those things that are good to bring what's good for ourselves and all our relations. And she says, when you get that clear, I tell you what, take a moment right now and just think of something. You can do this later on, but I'll just take you on the journey. So think of something you'd like to bring into your life or the life of the world. I'd like to see more wonderful, rich, nutritious food on every plate. So now take whatever that is, and I know we're doing this quickly. Just take that thought, and now I want you to let yourself move out. I think of White Buffalo Woman's womb as the starry night. Actually, before I let you move out there, I want to tell you something. In the Lakota way, the word Wakan means the first of what happened. And it's the womb, it's the pipe, it's the bowl of the pipe, it's the feminine womb that holds everything. Everything that ever happened, everything that will happen, everything that's possible, everything. And the way I like to think of it is when I walk out on a starry night, there's no moon and I can see all the stars. I see all of those stars over me and I can remember that back and back and back for light year after light year, there are planets and stars and nebula, and it just goes on and on. It's so enormous, so much possible. So the other part of that is skan. Skan is the masculine that goes, touches one of those stars and brings it to earth. So the masculine and the feminine create, we reach into those stars and bring something with our intention. So we'll do this just quickly, but close your eyes, holding your dream, your intention, and think that you can move out beyond yourself, move up a bit. You can look at the area around you. You can look out and around, maybe out of the city, out into the country, out into the county, out into the state. Pretty soon you're high enough. Oh my gosh, you can see the whole, starting to see more than the United States. You see Canada, you're out, and pretty soon you see the edges, you see the roundness of the globe, and you're out and you begin to see, you're out in the Milky Way, out in this beautiful galaxy of ours. And then you go beyond that and out and out and out, starry realms and beautiful nebulae and planets, all the other planets, everything, on and on and on and out. Get out as big and as far as you can get. Because what White Buffalo Woman said is when you get out there where everything is possible, out there where Creator has every possibility to work with, and drop your dream there, then there's no limitation to what can happen. So move out as far as you can, and when you're just out there where every richness, White Buffalo's Woman's womb is full and available to you, drop your prayer there and give Creator the opportunity to have every possibility available to make your dream come true. Because she said if you make that prayer and drop it right here, you're kind of in your limitations. I don't know if I could do that, or we get into that kind of stuff. And of course we've had experiences that feel limiting, or somebody said, or but so if we can move out into that great wholeness that is us, that is what's possible, that is available to us, then we allow that kind of space for Creator to give us what's really appropriate for us. And I feel like in that kind of place, we receive what's really meant for us, our true self, our biggest, highest, clearest, most loving self. And we can manifest those things on earth. And the times we're in, we need to manifest beauty and kindness and love and goodness and caring and all of the things.
Yes, really and truly. That's just so beautiful. And you know, it really brings our awareness to the fact that we are of, you know, our own community and our own little life, but we are also a part of so much more, you know, the earth as a whole, the Milky Way as a whole, the universe as a whole. Yeah.
So as I finish up, I wanted to tell you something White Buffalo Woman said to the people when she left them. She said, walk into your life with this pipe. And in basically she's saying to me, this holiness, this wholeness, this unity, this remembering of the whole thing and ourselves as one. She said, walk forward, and you will walk forward through this time into a new time and beyond time, and I will meet you there. Mm. So she reminds us to walk with sacred breath, with holiness, with wholeness, with love and respect for all of life. And I think that when we do this, we allow space and quiet. We quiet and open and leave space for Creator to move in you and unfold, incredible beauty in your life moment by moment. You can use your mind, and this wonderful mind you have, you can use your mind to play and create in the fields of creation, rather than talking about all the old craziness, and hanging on to that so much. You really open the space out.
Yeah, wonderful. And so deeply needed at this time, because we do need to powerfully step into a new way of being at this time right now. So to have that perspective of our limitlessness, of the vast possibilities available to us is just so critically important. Thank you.
Well, as I said, this is just a small taste of this incredible practice that I think takes us into a place of light and enlightenment. And I know my commitment is that any step I take, anything I learn, I really want to share that with you, and that will be available to all of you in any way that I can offer anything. So, may this wonderful light, this practice, make your steps incredibly light and loving.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to finish with a song.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
There is a secret one inside. All the stars and all the galaxies run through her hands like beads. There is a sacred one inside. All the stars and all the galaxies run through her hands like beads.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And I know that you are offering to the audience a number of free gifts. Did you want to speak about any of those?
I'd love to. One of the things that I'm offering is a download of some songs, including that one and the White Buffalo song, and a song I wrote not too long ago called Walk in Beauty that I think is a really lovely song. So I invite you to make use of those. Also, you'll get a free gift of a teaching called Empowering the Spiritual Warrior. Lots of interesting techniques there, I think. And I want you to have some discounts too. I recently did a teaching called Teachings of the Medicine Wheel, and there'll be some wonderful discounts on these things. Also, I would love to have you have Buffalo Woman Come Singing, the book that I wrote. It's written a long time ago, but I had the fun of reading it onto MP3 and realizing how much is in there. And it's not only my story, but with each chapter, I offer opportunities for people to deepen into the lessons. So I feel like it's for the people who read it, not just about me. So that's a download that you'll have a discount on. And there's also a discount on my Women's Mysteries series. Women's Mysteries, women's menstrual practice, women's spiritual practice through that. I feel like that's really a key that helps women be who we truly are and use our gifts in a way that's very powerful. So I really commend that one to you. And also, when you go on my website, there's a free section, and there are lots of other fun things, videos and talks and music and things. So I hope you enjoy those things.
Okay, thank you so much. Such a generous offering of gifts and discounts. Thank you. And so for everybody watching right below where you're watching this video, I've included the link to access those gifts, as well as there's a code. So all of that is right there below this video, so you can easily find it.
All right. I wish you very, very well, and I'm sending lots of love and good energy your way.
Yes, thank you so much. And it's been an honor and really a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much.